chenro mar chal pewe. Tudri kodwa wuok tich nyaka tich abich saa 11 mar midhiambo nyaka saa 12 mar midhiambo. Kama wanyisi motimore e pewe duto mana e Kala TV.
Geno kanyo ni rio makare kama mroma intiera ka uthuroni makende mar musikanyo ni ichio kata good morning poden kanyo morning intiere machalo nade okinyi makawuono ni eki en kanyo dakika kalo kanya par manotoka sa beach mar Onyango. Geno kanyo ni intiere makare kama mroma intiere ka uthuroni makende mar goyo mos mokuongo kaluore koda kangikro kama wabedo godo na oningo beni wabedo kanyo gi jagoro riwruok mar jopuonj mar Kupeta mano bade ma Kisumu County Migosi George Osuri. Kata kamano okoyudo thuolo mar chopo kaeri kendo wageno kanyo ni wabro yudo thuolo makamano dochieng machielo mondo mi watwage wi midhiero mopogore opogore mabende koro to kwako jopuonje pacho kaeri to enye kinde ni mabende koro to yaw skunde ne ondamo mar ariyo mano chakore dochiengno manyoro. Geno kanyo ni Nyasaye kotelo e wabro yudo thuolo makamano mar bedo kora ka jotelo gomiyo jogo mabende yudo wa mano kokalo mbui marwa mar Facebook ang'eyo kanyo nuseneno kanyo ka walendo ne wadhi bedo gi jatelo no. Kata kamano okotimore kaka ne wase keto chenro no ni ne dhi timore. Kata kamano wageno kanyo ni Nyasaye bro tele juma manyien kanyalore wabiro bedo kaeri koda ka jatelo no kendo wabiro bedo kode e twak achiel kachiel mar neno ne wang'iyo kanyo ni to gin weche mage kata midhiero mage mabende koro to jopuonj kaloe gi sechegi eki. Man chenro mar Chuny Wach kama taye chenro ni kaka pile enan Brenda Genya Subanyanam ko chakore sani nyaka ngorom kanyo sa 6 mar odiochieng kama en chenro mar miero mabende wang'iyo kanyo gigo kaka piny ringo wang'iyo kanyo ni to piny chiedho nade wang'iyo kanyo ni to ginang'o gene matimore achiel kachiel e alwora mari miwuoke chalo nade to gin weche mage mamuli kachiel koda kama moko. Odiochieng ni makawuono bende wan kanyo gi weche go eko mabende koro to trend pacho kaeri ma wadhi lose odiochieng ni makawuono mawadhi mulo kanyo ni to ginang'o gene matimore odiochieng ni makawuono. Ka mokuongo kata wach kata ka fuono ni moko kuom weche go eko wadhi wuoye weche go kama oting'o weche go mag siasa kaka chalo e pacho kaeri siasa dhi nade e pacho ka bende wadhi ng'iyo kanyo ni to weche go eko mag skul chalo nade kinde ni mabende koro to yaw skunde e pacho kaeri en tama mar ariyo ka bende wadhi wuoyo kendo about interview kata dai dhok mabende koro to dhi nyime gi sechegi eki amano e pacho kaeri kama bende koro to idhi yier iluongo kanyo ni yiero kata idayo dho jogo eko mabende koro to chung kendo dwaro lemo mar bedo jong'ad bura maduong' mane doho mamalo mogik kata Supreme Court ma pacho kaeri mabende dhi nyime odiochieng ni makawuono. Mago gin moko kuom gigo mabende wadhi wuoye ka mabende ting'o nyaka mago manotimore odiochieng no manyoro mabende pod dhi nyime e pacho kaeri. Ka wachako kanyo gi wach manotimore mar Migosi Rigathi Gachagua mabende koro to nikoda ka bura mano e doho ma Milimani doho mamalo ma Milimani bura mabende nomaki koda ka Migosi Rigathi Gachagua mano toka kane othiche oko e apisa kaka jalup kera kata jalup jatend piny owacho ma pacho kaeri e higa mar 2024. Migosi Rigathi Gachagua yaneno ringe doho kendo ne omako bura mabende koro to osechaki yal bura no chaki yal odiochieng no manyoro. Inyalo paro kanyo ni ka ne jatelo no ne omako bura makamano ne odwaro mondo mi koro to ne duokne tije kaka jatend piny owacho ma pacho kaka jalup jatend piny owacho ma pacho kaeri. Kata kamano gi sechegi eki ka ne winjo bura no odiochieng no manyoro to ne jatelo no koro to loko pache kendo koro to wacho di okonyal tiyo kanyakla koda ka Laktar William Ruto ama en jatend piny owacho. Kata kamano odwaro mondo mi koro to chule kaluore ni ne owacho ni kaluore ni ne ogole oko kata ne othiche oko e apisa kodhi koda kataro mar chike mapachoka. Migosi Rigathi Gachagua mano oyuoro e dodo chieng'no manyoro kane otene koda kaminode mano Pastor Dorcas Rigathi kachiel koda ka yawuote ariyo kachiel koda ka okil Kamal Loka kata kinde mabende koro to chunge loe ka otelnegi koda ka okil Paul Mwita koro to dwaro mondo mi koro to oneni ochule kuom ne gole oko ataro mar chike mapachoka. Kane okil Paul Mwite loso do chieng'no manyoro e nyim dono eko to no yango kanyo ni kaluore koda ka kit kaka ne ogol oko jatelno e telo kata kaka ne othiche oko. Number 1 moko kuom gigo mabende koro to giwago en ni nitiere kaka ne oko ka pas jopiny e yono mowinjore. Kata kamano giwacho ni duchieng'no kata kinego eko mabende koro to ne odhi kawo pas jopiny gino e Bomas of Kenya. Giwacho ni ne ok otimo process no e yono mowinjore kendo nitiere jopiny mathoth mane ok oyienegi mar ne donjo kanyo mondo mi gin bende koro to ne gikawo pachgi. Mano nyiso ni ne gidhi koda kataro mar chike mapacho kaeri. Seche nogo bende koro to giwacho ni nitiere kaka ne otim thicho oko mar migosi Rigathi Gachagua poya nono, yani mapiyo nokolu process monego beni luwo, notime mapiyo nono piyo to sethicha oko kendo bende Laktar William Ruto ne orema mar ne kawo thuolo mare kane pok oyiero jal ma koro to ne dhi bedo kaka jalupne. Giwacho ni Keruto bende ne oyiero mapiyo nono kata ne orudho notimo mapiyo e yono ma ok owinjore koluwore koda ka chike mapacho kaeri ne gidhi koda kataro ma chike mapacho kaka Keruto bende ne oyiero jalupne e sechego ma bende migosi Rigathi Gachagua ne pod tuo kendo ne ni osiptal. Kinyalo paro kinde mane ithicho oko migosi Rigathi Gachagua mane bura makamano chopo nyim od bura mar Senate to jatelo no obedo matuo kendo ne obedo admitted Karen Hospital kama bende no dhi nyime gi yudo thieth. E seche nogo emane wacho ni ker mapacho ka Laktar William Ruto ne osewuok oko kendo koro to ne oyiero kata ne owalo ngire kithure kindiki mar ne bedo jalupne. Bura makamano iyalo koda ka jo ng'ad buche maromo adek mano Justice Eric Ogola, Frida Mugambi koda Anthony Mrima. So burano ni nyim jo ng'ad buche adego Justice David Ogola, Eric Ogola, Frida Mugambi kachiel koda ka Anthony Mrima mabende dhi nyime koda ka bura makamano. Wageto winjo kendo wabro ng'eyo kanyo ni to bro chalo nade kendo wadhi fuono ni achiel kachiel kaka timore e od burano mamalo ma Milimani. Magi moko kuom gigo makoro to migosi Rigathi Gachagua dwaro mondo mi ochule. Migosi Rigathi Gachagua wacho ni kaluwore ni no gole ataro mar chik mapacho kaeri onego beni koro to ichule salary ne mar dweche go eko te, yani ichule salary nyaka chop dweche 5 nyaka chop higni 5 mano ningo beno bede jalup kere pacho kaeri. So no chune gidhi yweyo ma en ne oko chano bende ne oko yie godo kata kamano notime ataro mar chike mapacho kaeri omiyo dwaro mondo mi koro to neni ochule omenda kata ochule osara mar igni go te mar igni 5 te mano ningo beni otiyo kaluwore ni ne jogo koluwore koda ka chik kane gigole e telo. So magi moko kuom gigo mabende migosi Rigathi Gachagua koro to pedho ne nyim dono kendo odwaro mondo mi koro to neni ochule. Mokwongo odwaro salary ma dhi romo $42 million. Migosi Rigathi Gachagua dwaro kanyo $42 mano osara. Bende odhi dwaro kanyo airtime maromo magi koro iluongo na allowances kata omenda mabalang apart from the salary, omenda mabalang kata allowances. Odwaro kanyo airtime. Migosi Rigathi Gachagua wacho ni gidwaro kanyo omenda maromo 700,000. Bende monthly pension mano moro ma koro monthly pension bende odhi dwaro kanyo omenda maromo 980. Ka bende odhi dwaro kanyo 14 million mano retirement payment odhi dwaro kanyo 14 million 14. Migosi Rigathi Gachagua dwaro kanyo nyamburko 2 mago saloon ka 2 bende odhi dwaro kanyo omenda maromo 1,180. Okay, 1,180, 180,000, 1,180 mano mar fuel allowance. Odhi dwaro kanyo drivers 2 bende odhi dwaro kanyo jotedo 2, odwaro kanyo PA 1, odwaro kanyo 2 cleaners, armed security, airport VIP kachiel koda kadwaro mamoko. Maeri kaka ne chalo nyim dodo chieng'no manyoro.
My lords, your ladyship, the court will recollect that when we last appeared before this noble court on the 24th of February 2025, I stated to this honorable court on record, on behalf of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, that he was abandoning his prayer for reinstatement as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. To that end, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua amended and served his re-amended petition dated 13th of August 2025, in which further re-amended petition, he abandoned the prayer for reinstatement. I wish again, my lords, your leadership, to reiterate that position on.
Forever, for the union makes us strong.
Gikone to dul makido la tijo ponje pacho kaindi anyet skunde sekondar mano kupet. Badeniri mano makisumu county owokoko. Kendo go dogi piny kotende koda midhiero koni kod kocha mabedi jopuonje osebedo kakaloe. Kabende negi wacho ni magi gini wechego eko makaten migao masomo koketo e tim to kagideg kwepo donjo skunde pacho kaindi anyat jumanieri mabede kori yawe skunde. Migosi Jojo Sura en jagoro mar Kupete Kisumu County.
When we come together and discuss them, then we are sure there will be a solution to them. Number one is the confirmation of our teachers who are interns. All of us are aware in the courts on the 27th of February, the courts declared internship program by the TSC as being illegal. And it's clear again, they have not appealed at the Supreme Courts. The only thing they applied for is what we call a stay order. So to us and to all Kenyans and as teachers, we believe their work is very simple, to confirm the 44,000 interns.
Kopogore koda chenro go eko mag ndiko e tij jopuonje go eko mag intern na Migosi Osura bende koro lieko ni jopuonje go eko mag junior secondary gin mago ma bende koro winje sirkal oyienegi gibed kigin.
There is the autonomy. It is clear and everybody is aware that there is nothing much going on in the JSS schools because there is what we call wrangles between the HOI and these other teachers who are employed as JS. You know, mentally they were not prepared even to be there. So it is a bit difficult. And whoever is suffering, which all of us must know, are the students. The teachers could adjust, but I want to tell you there is structural failure that must be dealt with seriously. And the government should take the earliest opportunity to ensure the JSS become autonomy.
Bende Osura koro lero ni en gima rach ni telo mochung'ne ndiko jopuonje tich kendo chulo TSC koro ling kama tuo bang' ka jopuonje nono penj go eko. Gino ero bende koro wacho ni TSC otamre chulo jopuonj mabalang' mabende yande winjire ochulgi.
They should be paid. Students are already admitted in their schools. These students are already 1 term old in their school. They are already on holiday. And today again they are reporting for the 2nd term. But the teachers have not been given their peanuts. What does it tell you about how this government views the teachers? The dignity of the teachers is lower to the ground. And this will make the teachers lose respect.
Dokachiel mabendo siri machegni kod jakeno e Kupete Kisumu County kuro mano Mikael Doris Adhiambo kamikael Adhiambo yogo malich mokalo weche magarita kwe mabendo wacho nonjaore e sub county Maseme mabendo tie.
I want to state clearly that our coming here is to revamp the dignity of the teachers that have been thrown to the dogs. We are having, like, particularly I'm coming from Seme sub-county. The teachers are being slaughtered like chicken there. We are tired of typing rest in peace in that county. Security status, the status of security in that sub-county is wanting. We are requesting the government to ensure that there is security for teachers that are serving in that particular sub-county.
Kabende kod kakore jakom mar Kupete Kisumu County mano Migosi Robert Ogaja Bende ne osiro weche maket kod mano kata kamano migosi Gaja koro ywago malich mokalo weche mag okumbago eko mag thieth ne jopuonj maket kod mago mabende wacho ni chenro mar thieth mar SHA en mano mabende orochne malich mokalo kendo gibiyie tiyo e SHA no ero.
And lastly, I want to say that this SHA is a major problem. Teachers are dying together with their dependents, and we cannot wait for the teachers and their dependents to be wiped out from the society. And this medical cover must be made better. And if not, the money to be given to the teachers so that they can take private insurance, so that they can get better medical cover and better medical services. All the service providers must be warned in Kisumu County and in the nation that they must allow teachers to walk into the hospital, get treatment without being asked to pay any amount.
Weche maket kod magi jopuonj eki ne owacho kinde romo margi moyiedhi e boma maduong' ma Kisumu. Ne kalatvlive kuke Kisumu County and Justice
Marakamano mane waneno kanyo no mano iluongo kanyo ni jotelo goeko mano mar riwruok mar jopuonj ma Kupet bade ma Kisumu kane loso kaluwore koda ka chal mar weche goeko mag somo mano kaka chalo e pacho ka erika chilo koda ka midhiero mopogore ma bende jotelo go kata jopuonj koro to kalo e pacho ka eri jotelo go kano tene koda ka migosi George Osura maber jagoro mar Kupet bade ma Kisumu koro to yuago midhiero mopogore mano kama oting'o SHA magi wacho ni ok ti ka achiel koda ka chenro mag koso thieth ma bende koro to ok dhine gi makare bende koro to giywak ni nitiere kaka koro to interns maromo ka 44,000 mano ningo beni koro to ne osendiki e tich kaluwore ni ne ondik gi piny owacho kata duol mochung' ne ndiko jopuonj e pacho ka TSC ne ondiko kanyo interns maromo 44,000 e yor kojolo kata kamano kane gidhi e doho to doho no ng'ado ni mano ne odhi koda kataro mar chike ma pacho ka kendo ne ogolo chik mondo mi koro to ne ndik gi e yono ma ongirore jopuonj koro to ywak malich mokalo kendo gidwaro mondo mi gine ni koro to interns go ondiki e yono mongirore kendo giyudo osara mowinjore e seche nogo bende koro to giywago chudo mag jogo eko manonono penj madongo ma iga mokalo mar 2025 nyaka sani wachore ni penj makamago pok onon kata kamano kancha jagoro e ten migawo no ero mar somo mano migosi Belio Kipsang chopo kanyo od bura mar malo kano penje wachno ero no wacho kanyo ni omenda no ema pok oyudore kata kamano gin koda ka paro kata chenro mar neno ni gibigi chulo jopuonj go kendo oyudo omenda gi bende jopuonj go koro to ywak ka gidwaro ni mondo mi koro to jopuonj mag JSS Junior Secondary Schools mondo mi koro to neni oketi kargi gi yorgi yani omigi neni chenro gi gitimo gi yorgi ma gibedo e bwo skunde go eko mag primary ka chielo koda kamago mag secondary ma gin moko kuom ywak ma bende koro to jopuonj go ywago e pacho kaeri kendo ncha useno kanyo kane gibuono mar biro bago ng'anyo kata kamano ne gibedo koda katwak e kindgi koda ka duol mochung' ne ndiko jopuonj TSC ma bende nosingo kanyo mar neno ni winjruok obedo kendo chenro mag somo odhi makare magirito timore seche ma bende skunde koro to yaw ne tam mar 2 manoko chakore juma ma wantiere ni eki skundo yawe pacho kaeri ne tam mar 2 kendo wan kanyo gi geno kendo wakwayo maber ne jopuonjre ma osedok e skul mondo mi odhi nyime gi chenro gi mag somo no ningo bende wabiro kanyo gi migosi George Osura kata kamano kaluwore gi achiel ari adek ma ok nyalre jatelo no koyudo thuolo mar chopo kaeri kata kamano wageno kanyo ni wadhi bedo kod chieng' wuok tich omiyo kik dhi mabor kendo kik bai weche mamoko en duol mochung' ne to yiero koda ka kewe pacho kaeri IBC kawuono chopo e giko mare mar ndalo 30 mar ne timo gino miluongo ni mass registration for those people ma pok no register kaka jolut ombulu kata jolut kaka jolut ombulu omiyo duolno nogolo kwayo makende ne jogo duto mapok owuok oko mondo mi obed kaka jolut ombulu mondo mi ne wuogo koro chieng'ni ma kawuono today is the last day magi makamano timore today is the last day monego beni koro yani mass voter registration dhi nyime pacho kaeri kata kamano pod inyalo wuok oko kendo inyalo ndikore ka jolut ombulu duolno koro to yango ni gisendiko ji ma tamalo 70 75 atamalo 75 mag kwan mag jogo kata target margi mane gin godo koro to yando wuok oko kendo ondikore kaka jogo ombulu. An gi pacha paro ni ma obiro kaluwore koda ka Niko Kadi movement ma bende koro to rowere no wuok godo e pacho kaeri mar no ni gi mobilize each other kendo gi wuok oko mar neno ni gindikore kaka jogo ombulu. Omiyo kinge ni pok indikore kaka jogo ombulu ibeni rawera matin ma samoro kano yudo kipande thuolo en mari mondo mi wuog oko ichop kamoro amora machiegni kodgi. Ano ka gichunge chirni e dho skunde place moro amora midwaro minyalo gombo mondo mi indikri kaka jogo ombulu mondo mi wuog oko indikri kaka jogo ombulu mano kapok ochopo kinde mar yiero mar 2027. E weche mamoko en kwang'io ka siasa sani chalo e pacho kaeri kata ka siasa ringo e pacho kaeri ni jotelo moko mag duond buch siasa mar UDA waneno ka pod oramo mane weche go eko mag zoning ni wach zoning onge mondo mi oyiene jotelo duto e pacho kaeri madwaro chung ji duto madwaro chung e laro kombe mopogore opogore e gwenge magi wuoge ochungi otiko moro amora magi biro dwaro. Mano kaluwore koda ka weche go mana wachi koda ka moko kuom jokanyo mag UDA bade mabusia odiochieng'no manyoro ma pod kwedo zoning malich mokalo seche go maduong' buch siasa mar ODM to chunga kendo siro weche go mag zoning. Seche nogo bende duond buch siasa mar ODM kokalo kuom jakom margi amano migosi Mikai Gladys Wanga ma bende en governor e county ma Homa Bay ne waneno odiochieng'no manyoro ka nomedo siro kanyo ni gin kaka jo ODM gibiro tiyo kanyakla koda ka duond buch siasa no mar UDA kendo gibiro siro ker ma pacho ka Dr. William Ruto e ondamo mare mar ariyo mar dwaro mare mar bedo ker e pacho ka higa mar 2027. Kata kamano gibiro dwaro 50-50 gidhi dwaro 50-50 ka bende ne gikwedo malich mokalo kweth mag Linda Mwananchi kalore gi romo mancho bagi e boma ni Kima Kisumu romo no mabende no bedo kanyo maratipo an gima no mora e romo no ni sama no chakore gokinyi weche ne bet kane liet chuny boma ni Kisumu kalore ni kweth moko no wuok oko kendo koro to no wacho ni romo no bitimore kendo ne waneno kane gi wuok oko ka giwer kata kamano gimalich kata wach moro marach ahinya mano wuoke pok wang'eyo nyaka gi seche gi kier mana ni jomoko to koro nolokore mayo jopiny they were taking advantage of people ka yudi e town to ni maya gik moko rando nitie kaka kuonde mani ma ji kama chalo kaka Kondele bypass gino mabende wanyalo wacho ni no kwa moro godo mago weche go kuma waneno kaka dhi nyime bende wacho ri gi seche gi kini migosi kata ngire kiture Kindiki mabende en kanyo jatenda jalupa mabende kanyo jalupa jatend piny owacho ngire kiture Kindiki sani koro to ni koda ka luoro malich mokalo kaluore ni position mare mar jalupa jatend piny owacho nitiere ka koro to yumba koni koni mano motelo ni yiero mabiro higa mar 2027 kendo wacho ni sani koro to tiyo matek mokalo kendo focus ne duto okete gwenge go mag Mount Kenya mar no ni jo Mount Kenya obi ochung kode kendo jo Mount Kenya obi osire. Mago gin weche go eko madhi nyime pacho kaeri mano gin kaka weche ringo e pacho kaeri. Gi sani ni eki mawalose interviews dhi nyime mano ni ji maro mabich mabende yande koro to ne oyier kata nobedo shortlisted kaka jogo mane dwaro bedo achiel kuom judges mag Supreme Court e pacho kaeri. Inyalo paro kanyo ni Supreme Court judge achiel kuom jokanyo kata jong'ad buche mag dono ero mamalo kata Supreme Court mano jang'ad buche Justice Mohamed Ibrahim ne owito ngimane dwe mar 12 higa mokalo kendo ne oweyo komno thuolo mano bang' ka owito ngimane higa mar 2025 dwe mar 12. Komno osebedo thuolo e dweche ma osekalo chien ka gieki miyo nyaka sani yande ne osegol notice kendo ji mopogore opogore ne oro kwayo margi mar mondo mi koro to ne yiergi ne lemo makamano. Kata kamano ji abich mancho bedo shortlisted ka ji abich gen kamoting'o Katwa Kigen oting'o kanyo Ann Makori ma en former IPOA chairperson oting'o kanyo Justice Joseph Sagon Justice Mohamed Wasami, Justice Francis Tuyot. Mago ejia beach mabende ochak chenro mar dayo dhogi odiochiengni ma kawuono ne position makamano kamano en gino madhi nyime odiochiengni ma kawuono. Judges masani mag Supreme Court wan kanyo gi Chief Justice Mano Martha Koome, iluwe kanyo gi Philomena Mwilu and Deputy Chief Justice, kato wan gi Justice Smokin Wanjala, wan gi Justice Isaac Lenaola, Justice William Ouko, kachilo kodaka Lady Justice Njoki Justice Njoki Ndugu mabende Susan Njoki Ndugu, Lady Justice Njoki Susan Ndugu mabende koro to yande nitire kaka ne oyiere kata ne opuodhe koda kana ne wale koda ker mapacho kaeri mar ne dhi laro bedo achiel kuom judges mano e doho mar piny mangima ICC. Wabiro neno mbele kanyo koponi obiro dhi nyiso ni koma kamano biro chako dong nono kendo ibiro chak yier another judge. Gisani eki kata kamano chenro no eko mar dayo dho judges go dhi nyime ka gisani idayo kanyo dho judge mano not judge, I mean idayo kanyo dho Ann Makori mabende ne en kanyo kata ne en former IPOA chairperson, en kanyo jakoma mar duol mochung'ne rango bilai pacho kaeri IPOA mano mikai Ann Makori mabende koro to idayo dhoge odiochiengni eki ma kawuono. We producer marwa terwa ne to wang'ia ne to chalo nade gi seche gi eki.
And I believe I was part of the team that contributed a lot to the reports that supported the industrial code back in the day. I then moved from there and worked for ART, which was a hire purchase company and a fully owned subsidiary of ICDC. From there, I moved out of what I would call government, ventured into private sector, and went into banking. Worked shortly in mainstream bank, then moved to media, where I served for a number of years, and I grew to become the head of legal and human resource for the Standard Group. And while there, I was part of the team that led in the transformation of the Standard from East African Standard to the Standard Group, and I was responsible for helping them put structures in the legal department, the HR structures, and that began my life in corporate governance. Then I was later to move to Faulu, where I worked again in banking, but microfinance, regulated environment, and that gave me exposure to regulated environment under the central bank, and the exposure to the economic realities at the bottom of the pyramid. I then moved to private practice for a short stint, then joined government again as the chair of IPOA. And that gave me exposure to the environment of accountability, human rights, and institutional governance. At Faulu, I was a general manager in charge of 3 functions. Legal, human resource.
I think that is enough scope of the area of your experience.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
We want you to rocket those skills and experiences to the 4 jurisdictions that are exercised by the Supreme Court. How are you going to bring that experience to bear to the nature of the cases that fall within the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court?
Thank you once again, Honorable CJ. The jurisdiction of Supreme Court is anchored in Article 163. Under 163(1), presidential petitions following declaration of presidential elections, that's an original jurisdiction. My experience, in fact, is even though I've not handled a presidential petition, I've worked within communities. I serve in communities in other organizations. And therefore, I engage a lot with communities and would be able to explain to the communities, if need be. A lot of the people on the ground don't understand how the courts work, and that's why you'll find a lot of emotions around the decisions of the court. So we'll be able to participate in doing outreach even before the electioneering period. Within the structures, of course, I realize judiciary has started doing dialogues, having held one, I think the first one last year. So within the structures that can allow me to do that, I would be able to do that. And of course, as a judge, participate in constitutional interpretation and in dispensing the issues. I'm aware there have been 3 petitions, all of them with different learnings, and therefore I would also benefit from that. Supreme Court works as a college of judges, so I would not be alone. I'll be able to participate in that. The other role is hearing the appeals from the Court of Appeal and also from tribunals, depending on whether there is legislation to that effect. Another 163(4) as a right from Court of Appeal, and any matter that is certified of public importance. I've worked in IPOA, the area of accountability, human rights, and therefore I have a lot of experience in issues to do with human rights and accountability. And all this experience really has given me very good grounding in governance. The other area is advisory, though limited. I've worked in government, I understand how government works, so I would be a valuable asset in areas to do with advisory, even if it touches on county governments. Having worked in a national government entity, you can't work without devolving the services that we carried out, and therefore we had offices like in all counties, and therefore I understand the devolved structure and the need to devolve the services further. The other area is state of emergency. Don't have experience on that. I would be looking forward to learning.
Very well. We'll move to the next area of the interview, and Justice Ishale will take it on from there.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Justice. Mrs. McCory.
Yes, my lady.
The records held by us at the Judicial Service Commission show that you have applied for different roles, albeit at different times at the judiciary. There is a time when you applied to become the Deputy Chief Registrar of the Judiciary. You also applied to become the Director, Human Resource. You also put in an application to be a judge in the Court of Appeal. Is there another pending application to join a tribunal?
Yes, my lady.
Which tribunal is this?
Competition.
The Competition Tribunal. That application is still yet to be processed. Is that correct?
I never got any response, so I assumed I was not shortlisted.
All right, maybe I can tell you that it is yet to be processed and it is pending. So given these various applications that you've made, could you walk us through your interest in these positions and how you assessed your fit for each of those positions? We'll begin with the Deputy Chief Registrar of the Judiciary.
Thank you, my lady. Those are not the only times I've applied to judiciary. When I finished university, before joining the public service, I tried judiciary. But the interviews came almost the same time, so I was told, you've just joined public service, you can't join judiciary. I've always desired to serve in the judiciary so that I can contribute to the development of the law in this country. The Deputy Chief Registrar is because basically I believe that's a role that is administrative in nature, and handles the human resource for the judiciary. I'm a human resource practitioner. I'm a lawyer. So I believed I would fit within that system, and it would give me an entry point to judiciary, where then I would understand how judiciary administration structures work. And being a lawyer, I would work in an environment where majority of the people really are lawyers, judicial officers. But my experience in HR and administration would help me strengthen the structures. At that point, judiciary was still taking a lot of transformational initiatives. So I believed having participated in transformational journeys at the Standard and at Faulu, I believed I had valuable experience that I would bring to that journey as judiciary was trying to put in place its own structures.
Very well, Mrs. Makori. I suppose that what you're telling us about the position of a deputy CRJ would also apply when it comes to the position of the director, human resource.
Yes, my lady.
All right. What about the application in the tribunal? How did you assess your fit into that tribunal?
I looked at the requirements. Basically, they needed somebody who is a lawyer, basic understanding of the law. Though I've not worked in the competition authority, I believe implementation of the law, if you have basic understanding, you can work in any environment. A tribunal, other judiciary really is an entity that also contributes to development of decision making. It would give me the same opportunity that I've been seeking all my life, to participate in developing the laws, making decisions that could form precedents, and an opportunity again to serve within the judiciary.
So assuming that all these positions were available.
Yes, my lady.
Including the position of the Supreme Court, and the Judicial Service Commission is saying, make your pick. Which one would you pick?
Certainly I would pick the Supreme Court judge.
Because it's more prestigious?
Yes, but also it has a unique role, that of defending the Constitution, developing jurisprudence in new areas, supporting the lower courts in clarifying the legal position. Having worked in IPOA, I appreciate the role of constitutional safeguards.
All right.
So I would be a defender and a promoter of the Kenyan Constitution, because I know the delicate balance that requires to be played in protecting individual rights and the space that I worked.
All right.
State authority.
I can't fault you. If I was also asked to pick which one, whether the tribunal or the Supreme Court, I think I would go for the Supreme Court.
Thank you, my
Now,
lady.
one or two technical questions from me. You've very well articulated the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court.
Yes, my lady.
Which jurisdiction of the Supreme Court has not yet been exercised by that court?
Hearing and determining an application on state of emergency.
That is correct. Applications emanating from a declaration of a state of emergency. Secondly,
yes,
is there an instance or are there instances when the Supreme Court acts as the first appellate court?
Yes, my lady. Under Article 163(4)(a), as an appellate court.
Is there an instance or are there instances when the Supreme Court acts as the first appellate court? You understand about the first appellate court?
Yes, the first appellate court is the Court of Appeal or the High Court. So when it has had
Or maybe to put it in another way, is there a time under the law that the Supreme Court, there is provision in the law that it can act as a first appellate court?
Yes.
Please tell us.
In hearing applications from the tribunal on disciplinary matters for judges, if the judge is aggrieved by the decision of a tribunal, then he appeals to the Supreme Court.
So what then is the role of the Supreme Court when it is hearing appeals from the tribunal?
The past decisions that the Supreme Court has looked at, the first thing the court determined is that the judge has the right to appeal and to benefit under Article 47 on fair administrative justice, and that the court can actually look at the decision of the tribunal and determine the merits of misconduct, whether the threshold on misconduct was met, and can uphold that decision or vary it.
So it reassesses and reevaluates the evidence?
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Justice. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, CJ. Council.
Yes, Honorable Mwanza.
Yes, before 2010, the highest court in the land in Kenya was the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
Then there was clamor for 2010 that Kenyans now reimagined their new order.
Yes.
And came up with the 2010 Constitution. Now, if you read the CKRC report, you'd see that there was an original intent by Kenyans of establishing the Supreme Court. The CKRC report has, in fact, summarizes what it says are arguments that were clear and convincing for establishing this court. Perhaps you can tell us 4 of those that were presented as the basis of establishing the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Honorable Mwanza. Before the 2010 Constitution, the Constitution that existed did not have the participation of the people. And therefore, the Constitution that we have, we can say is the Constitution that affirms the sovereignty of the people of Kenya.
Yes.
And therefore, there was need to safeguard the interests of Kenyans in ensuring that Constitution is protected, is interpreted.
Council, I want you to be direct in answer. So there was actually a reason why Kenyans said they wanted the Supreme Court established, and that is found in the CKRC report. The CKRC report summarizes the original intent, and in that report it says these are the clear and convincing reasons of why we established or we are establishing the Supreme Court. Did you have occasion to read the CKRC report on why Kenyans intended to establish the Supreme Court?
I have not read it recently, but I know Kenyans needed the human rights aspect entrenched in the Constitution.
No, there is a specific reason that is captured by the Committee of Experts and also in the CKRC report. It's a very clear intention, and that forms the basis of establishing the Supreme Court. If you cannot recall, we can go
backwards. And I know one of the areas that required attention is the reforming of the institutions.
Let me ask you a direct question. Have you had occasion to read the CKRC report or the Committee of Experts report on why there was an intent to establish the Supreme Court?
Not in an academic sense.
Not academic, it's just a report. Okay, let me go to another area. Now, under Article 163B of the Constitution.
163, 3B.
Yes, 3B, yeah? It stipulates that the Supreme Court shall exercise appellate jurisdiction and here determine matters from 1, the Court of Appeal, and 2, any other court or tribunal established by national legislation. Now, which other court, other than the Court of Appeal, does Article 163B2 of the Constitution contemplate? That's the first question. The second question is as follows. Considering the decision of the Supreme Court in the case of Macharia versus Kenya Commercial Bank on a special jurisdiction of the Supreme Court under the Supreme Court Act that was declared unconstitutional, does Article 163B2 contemplate an appeal from the High Court or such other superior court other than the Court of Appeal? And lastly, can you specify instances whereby it could be appropriate for national legislation under Article 163B2 to provide for a leapfrog appeal to the Supreme Court?
Mana kamano mano e kaka weche chalo mano milimani kabende duol mar Judicial Service Commission dhi nyime koda adayo dho jogo mabende koro to dwaro mar bedo achiel kuom jong'ad buche mano mar dono mar Supreme kagie sechegi eki idayo dho mano Mikai Anna Makori mabende koro to wacho kanyo gimaduong' winjo ko wacho kanyo en gi better understanding of history mar Kenya mabende koro to wacho ni ng'ata madwaro bedo jang'ad bura e pacho kaeri nyaka koro to bed ni en ng'ano mabende koro to nyalo understand kata nyalo ng'eyo kata nigi ng'eyo matuta mano koro to ka historia mar piny Kenya mabende koro to wacho ni nyalo konyo malich mokalo mondo mi ng'ato o deliver justice. Jatelo no koro to singo nyima duol no eko mabende koro to dhi nyime gi dayo dhoge ne porno omie thuolo makamano kendo obio yiere kata gibi gikawe kaka achiel kuom jong'ad buche mano e dono eko mar Supreme Court ma pacho kaeri kata dono mamalo mogika to biro chuno ne biro tiyo makare kendo biro neno ni ong'ado bura e yono mowinjore e pacho kaeri. Wageno kanyo ni chenro makamano poro biro dhi nyime ka bende pod dhi nyime nyaka gi sechegi eki kendo wen mago kod achiel kuom gigo mabende wadhi luwo ni kanyo kaluwore koda kasada kikodong kanya bich kende romo kanyo sa 6 mar odiochieng'. Nyinga en Brenda Agenyo mane chenro mar Chuny Wach warom kendo odiochieng' no makiny ka Nyasaye oyie. Gisani awe kanyo kapod wadhi nyime kanyo gineno ni to chenro no eko madhi nyime mano kama idayo dho ji abich mabende koro to nokaw kata yande ne owal kaka jogo mochung' kendo dhi laro dwaro nero mar bedo kaka achiel kuom judges e dono eko maduong' kata dono maduong' mogik kata dono mamalo mogik mano Supreme Court. Mae biro kaluwore ni thuolo makamano no do kata koma kamano no dong' thuolo mano bang' tho mar achiel kuom manen judges mag Supreme Court mano Justice Mohamed Ibrahim mano wito ngimane December higa mar 2025 mana higa mokalo. Ji abich go eko en kamoting'o Katwa Kigen, Anna Makori, Justice Joseph Sajion, Justice Mohamed Waseme, kachiel kod Justice Francis Tuyota. Pod wadhi nyime gineno kanyo miyo mir bana kete wang jomini mar Kala TV wanere odiochieng' machielo.
Involving the interpretation and application of this constitution.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
In your view, are those words synonymous, interpretation or application, or are they separate? And what would be interpreting or interpretation of the Constitution, and 2, application?
The first one is to interpret, is to look at the actual meaning of what the crafters of the law intended. So you interpret what the law intended to achieve. Application is in what circumstances then can that law be applied?
So are those separate jurisdictions under that A?
No, they cannot be separate, because once you interpret, then you determine the circumstances under which that law then can be applied.
So can, for instance, an issue arise to the Supreme Court on application of the Constitution that does not involve interpretation?
Application without interpretation.
Yes.
Yes, I think an issue can arise.
If you can give an example.
On application. Application. The one I can think of, there's a very recent case. Where the decision of High Court, I would call it in structural interdict, Okia Umtata case, and I think that was the decision of Justice Mrima, who is seated here. The High Court had followed the decision in Mitubel and decided that Parliament had unduly delayed passing the law that would then transition tribunals to be under the judiciary. And the High Court held that there was an undue and reasonably delay in line with Article 259(8). And the Court of Appeal agreed with that decision. But the Supreme Court said there was another aspect that should have been looked at, the intent, the intention and the desire, the intention to implement. So I think in that particular matter, the issue was not application. It was not interpretation of what the existing law is, but whether then structural interdict can apply in the circumstances under which that application came.
So is this provision applied in either or?
Can be in either, where the issue of interpretation is not in question, but can also be both.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, lastly, I want to ask about a statement that is made about the court, that this is a political court. Would you agree with that statement, that the Supreme Court is a political court? And if you do, what would that imply?
Within the Vision 2030, we have different pillars.
Not Vision 2030. We are discussing the Constitution. Is it a political court or not? And if it is a political court, what does that mean?
I wouldn't call Supreme Court a political court. It only has mandate that exposes it to unique political situations. That is of interpreting the Constitution, safeguarding the rights of Kenyans, safeguarding the law. And in that regard then, there will always be issues that touch on legal interpretation, the rights of the people, and a lot of those rights usually are where they are not observed or where they are violated. And
in providing leadership in terms of issues that transcend the interest of the parties, infusing values, new values about the Constitution, and perhaps streamlining case law, and sometimes even making choices that are unpopular.
Yes.
Or against even, say the executive. Would you say then, is it a political vote or is it not?
I don't think it's a political court. It's a court that has a mandate that touches on separation of powers.
Okay. I know.
Because if we call it political, then how will Kenyans feel when they are coming to a political court? They have the confidence that would it give the connotation that it's always fighting, it's always causing?
No. You know, you are sitting at a very high table where you will be among 7 people if you are nominated to determine what the law says with finality.
Yes.
So you cannot sit on the fence. We must hear you so that when you're assessing you in 360, we know where you stand on certain issues.
I don't think it's a political court.
Okay, lastly, let me just ask this. I said that it was the last, but having had what you've done for the last 30 years.
Yes.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Would I be correct to say that you've, 80% of your time focus on human resource and management?
With a lot of respect, that's not a correct position.
Okay. Did you, if you look at where your specialty is, even from your own submitted sample writings, you seem to have focused a lot on human resource. Is that true or not?
That's true, but human resource is also a branch of law.
Okay.
The labor laws.
So let me follow up with that. Secondly, if again I look at your sample writings, they seem to suggest that in terms of interaction with the court, because you've submitted sample writings with respect to to a matter you did in ELC. Okay. Mm-hmm. So have you had occasion, for instance, as an advocate, to appear before the Court of Appeal?
Physically, no, but I've had several matters at the High Court.
Okay. In the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court, certainly no.
In the Court of Appeal?
No, not yet.
Okay. Then, now trying to locate your experience as somebody who wants to sit and make a final determination on what the law is. Actually, it's a position of stewardship that you are given by Kenyans to say when we are disputing about what the law is, whatever the 7 of you say, we will accept it. Is that true or not?
That's true. Kenyans have to comply with, with the Supreme Court.
Locating and tracing your life history for the last 30 years, would you say that you are the person and you have the experience for this high calling?
Yes, I do. In fact, I'm the best placed because my experience spans several sectors, and not forgetting I've had the opportunity to lead a national entity.
No, I understand that, but now we are discussing the law. Now, in terms of, have you sat before in any tribunal as an appellate judge or in an appellate capacity?
I've appeared before High Court representing a client in an appellate matter.
In the High Court?
Yes.
But as you've said, you've not appeared in the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court?
Yes, I haven't.
Okay. That's all, CJ.
Maybe my lady, to answer Honorable Mwanza, we are all lawyers, different exposures, and I think different capability to interpret and apply the law. Only that we've worked in different sectors, applying different sets of laws, but law is law. And I'll not be sitting alone. I'll be sitting in a college of judges. So where I may have gaps, I believe I'll have the opportunity to learn, and I'm a quick learner.
Very well. We'll move on to the Honorable Attorney General.
Yes, good morning, Anne.
Good morning, Honorable Attorney General.
A famous advocate by the name Oliver Wendell, who died in 1935, was a jurist and associate justice of the Supreme Court of the United States of America. So he once said that the life of the law has not been logic, it is experience. What is your take?
That's very true. The best way to learn the law is experience, exposure to different aspects of it, opportunity to engage with it from wherever you are, whether it's academia, whether it's practice, whether it's the bench. If you just read law and sit at home, certainly you get rusty. So I believe that's true, and that's why we seek to keep practicing and keep reading.
So what is that special attribute or experience that you think will bring to this court to complement the expertise that is already there?
Thank you, Honorable. Unique. The unique experience that I have is that as I approach judiciary, I do so with a lot of governance experience. And therefore, I'll be bringing an all-rounded legal practitioner with experience in practice, public service, private sector, commercial sector, corporate, human resource, and therefore a lawyer who is molded through accountability.
Can we house that experience in a particular branch of law that is within the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court?
Mainly in civil litigation and commercial division, and commercial division mainly.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chief Justice and Wakili. Once again, welcome. A very short discussion for my first is sitting as a judge in any court, be it at the first level of the superior courts, or the appellate COA, or the Supreme. Whenever a judge is applying, rating the Constitution, it is imperative for the judge to understand the historical background of the issue at hand. Why do you think that is important?
Thank you, my Lord. It is important to understand the historical background because it raises the basis of the legal issues that need determination. Without a proper understanding of the background, the judge may not understand what the parties before him or her is seeking to achieve. So it's important to understand the background of every dispute that comes before the judge.
Background of the dispute, say, I'm referring to the understanding of the historical background, that provision of the Constitution, not of the case before you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, it's important to understand the historical background of the provision or the law being applied so that then the judge can be able to effectively meet the aspirations of the people that have come to seek justice, and also to ensure the legal provisions being applied are the right ones and can be defended.
Okay. Does that have anything to do with the transformative nature of the Constitution?
Yes, it does, and the transformative nature of the law, really. It's ever developing. The Constitution is, particularly the Supreme Court, is always being confronted with unique issues that have not been determined before. So it has to sort of give pioneering guidance.